Hello, beautiful beings. Welcome to Soul Shift Messages. If you found your way here, trust there's something in this message for you. Understand this space is about growth, truth, and transformation. We don't bypass here. We don't sugarcoat, and not every message will feel comfortable, but it will be honest. I speak in flow, and that sometimes includes cussing. It's just part of how the messages come through. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't, and trust your own discernment above all else. Take a deep breath, and let's begin. If you're new here, please know at this time I post weekly content that typically is 3 parts. The first part tends to focus on what needs to be revealed. It sets the topic for the week. Part 2 focuses on what needs to be understood. And part 3 focuses on what needs to be done, because without taking action, you cannot embody the topic that we are discussing it that week. Now, for this weekly content that you're listening to now, to be honest, just the way it developed and the insight I got as I went required me to deviate from that system a little bit, and it's not a big deal. I really, truly believe this topic needed to be covered, really needed to be addressed the way it needed to be addressed. So I really did kind of, to an extent, toss the structure out, but that was intentional. So I thought we were going to talk about just codependency, and as I got to part 2, I realized that codependency is actually a symptom of self-abandonment. So I did create additional content on what needs to be understood about self-abandonment, what needs to be done to heal that, as well as really addressing the underlying mechanism of codependency. So this is a 6-video series. Typically they're 3, but to be honest, it needed to be done this way. And I'm glad that I didn't let rigidity, get in the way of covering this the way it needed to be. Before I get going, there is a call out that I want to make, and it will be important. So as I create content, all links to everything in the series will be found in the description box below. And this series was created very intentionally by myself and my spirit guides. It is meant to be consumed in the order in which I uploaded it. And what I mean is, it's meant to start with the first video, move to the second, the third, and so on. If at any point you have skipped any of those videos, say you saw the first video and you just want to jump to this one, I'm going to be very clear, because this message is coming through very clear. You will not receive this message the way it is intended to be received if you have bypassed any of those previous videos. So you can listen if you want to, but you will not get the full benefits. You will not get the full picture, and it will be more difficult for you to actually take the action I'm about to outline in this message and apply it. So please, if you did skip videos, please do consider pausing and going back to where you left off, because that is important to fully receive this message and really empower you to do what you need to do to embody this change. So let me go ahead and get started. This is the 6th and last video in the series, and it is called How to Free Yourself from Codependency. This is the moment where freeing yourself from codependency either becomes real or stays conceptual. This message is not offering a gentle transition. There is no gentle transition out of codependency. It is making something unmistakably clear. You do not heal codependency by improving how you participate in relationships. You end it by withdrawing participation from the system itself. It is a full exit. This is not refinement. This is not optimization. This is interruption at the level of identity, behavior, attention, meaning, and reinforcement. So let's go ahead and break this down. Act outside the system while it is still active. If you wait to feel different, you will never act different. So what needs to be done is not to reach clarity, certainty, or emotional alignment. It is to act in direct contradiction to the system while it is fully operating inside you. All right? That means you act while the urgency is there, while the guilt is there, while the anxiety is there, and while it still feels like you, because those are not signs you're doing it wrong. They're signs you are finally not obeying the system. Interrupt the system where it actually lives. Micro behaviors. This does not change through one big decision. It changes through the smallest repeated moments where the system normally moves automatically. So the work looks like not sending the message, not checking in, not explaining yourself, not anticipating needs, not fixing what wasn't asked of you, and not stepping in to regulate what you feel. These moments will feel wrong, negligent, selfish, and not like you, but that feeling is not truth. It is withdrawal from the pattern. Insert a pause where none exists. Right now, the system runs like this. Feeling turns directly into action, thought into behavior, and discomfort into intervention. There is no gap. So the work is create a gap, even if it feels unnatural. Not to figure anything out, not to find the right response, just to not immediately act. Even a short pause begins to break urgency, compulsion, and automatic reinforcement. Do not confuse discomfort with misalignment. As you interrupt the system, your internal experience will intensify, not clarify. You will feel guilt, anxiety, fear of disconnection, and fear of doing it wrong. Do not use your emotional state as a compass right now, because your system has been conditioned to interpret calm as emptiness, space as abandonment, and non-action as neglect. So when you stop participating, stability will feel like loss. That does not mean you should go back. I'm hearing sit with it. It will pass. You have to teach yourself a new way of functioning. Stop managing what is not yours. The core of the system is control disguised as care. So the action is let reality exist without your intervention. Let them feel what they feel. Let things be unresolved. Let silence exist and let uncertainty remain without fixing, smoothing, explaining, or stabilizing. This will feel like loss of control because it is. And that loss creates space for truth. Stop performing your identity. You are not just attached to the relationship. You are attached to who you are within it. The helper, the stabilizer, the one who understands, the one who holds everything together. So the work is stop proving who you are through what you do, even if that means being less available, being less responsive, and being less involved. Not as a strategy, but as a refusal to perform the role. Do not repackage the pattern as growth. The system adapts, and when it does, it looks healthier. It will sound like, I'm just communicating better. I'm being honest. Or I'm working on this. But underneath, it may still be over-explaining, over-engaging, or over-functioning. So not all change is real change. Some of it is the same pattern in better language. Again, it needs to be a full exit or you are still in it. There is no in between. Do not hide in understanding. You can understand this completely and remain inside it. Analysis can become participation. It can look like constant reflection, labeling everything, and trying to internally resolve before acting. But insight without disruption does nothing. If behavior doesn't change, the system remains. Let reality replace potential. You are not just releasing a person. You are releasing the version of them you believed in. The imagined future, the potential, the meaning you assigned. So the work is relate only to what is consistently real. And this brings grief. Allow the grief without returning. You are grieving what you hoped for, what you believed, and what you invested in. And especially something that felt real, but wasn't fully there. Feel the grief without turning it into re-engagement. Avoiding grief restarts the system. Let me grab some water. Release control and the identity built around it. This is not only fear, it is identity. Being the stronger one, the more aware one, the one who gives more, the one who holds everything together. So the work is release the psychological position, even if it feels earned. You have to let these go. They're not actual identities. They are regulation methods you use. You cannot take old shit tied to codependency with you when you try to leave codependency. You have to leave things tied to the system with the system when you exit. Expect reciprocity to feel uncomfortable. Balance will not feel natural. It may feel unfamiliar, exposing, and unstable because you are no longer controlling, over-functioning, or anchored in a role. So your job is do not return to overgiving to feel stable. Tolerate non-resolution. You will not get perfect closure, full understanding, or clean endings. And you don't need them. Release does not require resolution. Stand in your truth. Align your actions to your truth. That is your resolution right there. Redefine responsibility in real time. Before acting, ask, was this asked of me? Is this mine? Is this reality, or discomfort. If it's discomfort, do not convert it into action. That will put you right back in. Do not convert it into action if it's discomfort. And I'm hearing don't lie to yourself. Allow the collapse you've been avoiding. Ending this will feel like emptiness, disorientation, and loss of purpose. This is not failure. It is identity withdrawal. The work is stay out of the system while it happens. I'm hearing you cannot save what is collapsing, and you're not meant to. Stay out of the system and let things fall. Your power is in withholding participation. Power is not doing more or fixing more. It is choosing where your energy no longer goes. This is quiet but disruptive. I'm hearing do it anyway. Act without internal permission. You will not feel ready, sure, or aligned, so act anyway. Set boundaries while feeling guilty. Stay silent while feeling anxious. And disengage while it feels wrong. Because the system loses power when you stop asking it for permission. What to watch out for. Do not swing to the opposite extreme. You may want to shut down, withdraw, or avoid connection. That is not freedom. That's the system inverted. The goal is clean, non-controlling participation. Do not turn this into a perfect process. You are not aiming for perfection. You are aiming for interruption. If at first you don't succeed with interruption, try again. Let me grab some water. Stop using time as justification. Time does not equal change. Only consistent behavior does. Release the need to be chosen. Your value cannot depend on being chosen after overgiving. I'm hearing you deserve better than that. Watch the small exceptions. The idea of just one time restarts the system. Be very mindful. Understand silence as action. Silence for some of you may be very challenging, but silence is active non-participation. And for some of you, silence is just not engaging, not responding. And I'm hearing you will know when the time comes for that. Some of you may not be able to start there, but some of you may find as you keep trying to exit this that silence will be the only way out, just not engaging with people. And listen, I'll just say this. I got some people who are trying to text me right now, and I'm just like, look, if someone's not on their way out of this experience, I'm not responding because I know what they want from me, and I'm not stepping back into that role. So for me, silence is active non-participation. You will stabilize yourself. If not through me, you'll find someone else. And either way, I can live with that. The system weakens before it ends. Less intensity does not equal resolution. It does not. Trust behavior over interpretation. You need to watch patterns, not words. What are people doing? I'm getting the message that words are spells. Some of you know that, some of you don't. Words can be spells. How do you break the spells? Watch their behavior. Watch the patterns of what they do. You will see. I don't know who that's for, but that's for someone. You are allowed to stop mid-pattern. You can interrupt at any point. Again, this is not about perfection, it's about interruption. You can stop while it's happening. You do not need to over-explain. Explanation invites re-engagement. Not everything needs immediate repair. Discomfort does not require instant action. Take the pause. Empathy does not require access. You can understand the situation, the person, why they act the way they do, and still disengage. There is truth in the statement to love people from afar and to also want to see people eat, but not at your table. All right? Empathy does not require access, especially when it forces you to shrink yourself, to abandon yourself, to really leave any aspect of yourself diminished in any way. Stop tracking them. Attention is participation. Let them go with love. Let them do what they do. Do not replace the pattern with self-control. This is non-reactivity. It is non-reactivity. Stand in your truth. This is not rigidity. All right? Self-control is not conducive to wholeness, sovereignty, and standing in your truth. It's just another way you bind yourself. And you don't want to nor have to do that. Expect your life to feel different. This pattern, structured more than just the relationship. Things will change. The pull to re-enter the pattern will return in waves. Because again, the system is, if at first you don't succeed, try again. It will come back. I am telling you, it will come back. Repetition is part of disengagement. Recognizing it, and for me, giving it a full fuck no. Like, I see you, bitch, go somewhere else. All right? Learn to be misunderstood. You do not need to fix perception. People who benefited from your shrinking, your self-abandonment, and all the other shit that comes with this system will likely not understand why you don't want to stay in that role. They will not understand why you don't want to do what you did before, because in their mind, it worked. It was effective. Why would you change it? And again, the root cause of codependency is self-abandonment. So the system worked, but it cost you yourself in the process. Not everyone is going to understand that. Not everybody wants to understand that. They're just going to see you're over here switching things up and fucking all our shit up. Well, guess what? Just because things worked at your expense doesn't mean you stay there. Sometimes the way you honor yourself is you completely leave what you know doesn't serve you and is never going to. So learn to be misunderstood. You do not need to fix perception. I got a lot of pissed off people at me right now who aren't saying it to my face, but I be psychic as fuck. I can feel it. And you know what? I still sleep good at night because you know what? This is the healthiest I've been in my life, probably to date. And I'm hearing some of you, if you stick with this, you'll get there too. Momentum is not a reason to continue. Again, you can stop mid-motion. Interruption, not perfection. Doing nothing will feel like failure, but here, non-action is action. You gotta starve the system. Fully starve it. Let me grab some water before I dive in. The deepest layers. Non-participation cannot be used as strategy. If you are disengaging to create a reaction, you are still participating. This is not a tactic. It is an exit. I'm hearing don't get it twisted. You will not feel fully ready to let go. Waiting for internal completion delays the exit. Release the identity of the one who doesn't give up. Staying is not a strength when it requires self-abandonment. I would say it again. Staying is not a strength when it requires self-abandonment. Familiar pain is not truth. Intensity does not equal meaning. You do not need to prove the connection was real. Validation is not required for release. Meaning does not require continuation. Something can matter and still end. I'm hearing particularly when it is unhealthy, and codependency can never be healthy. It is a system. It is a structure. It is not a phase. All right? What you invested is already gone. Staying does not recover it. You will face your own needs directly. You can no longer outsource yourself. If you do, you are right back in the system. You go right back into codependency. You have to become your own anchor. Your identity was tied to being needed. And that loss will feel real. I'm hearing, but it will eventually be replaced with something authentic and true. Silence reveals reality. It removes all illusion. Who reaches out? Who maintains? And what actually exists without your effort? Do not interrupt what silence shows you. I'm also hearing do not deny what it reveals either. And they want me to share when I went silent on people, and some people really knew I was going through a hard time, and it really broke my heart to really see that people I would have bent over backwards for, giving them the shirt off my back, hell, tried to lasso the moon and shit, just did not show up. And it really was heartbreaking to see that. But you know what? I learned a lot, and I recognized where to actually invest my energy and, frankly, where to keep it to myself. And things did get better. Damn, I'm hearing some of you are going to realize, if you go silent, some of you are going to realize just how much dead weight you've been carrying. My heart goes out to you if you feel like you're in that boat. I'm hearing it will get better. You're in the dismantling and the stabilizing before the right people are brought in for you. I'm hearing hang in there. You are leaving a role, not just a person. And you need to end the pattern, not just the instance. For example, if you are the stabilizer for people, the role is the stabilizer. You need to end that pattern of being the stabilizer. I don't care if that's for family, for work, for friends, for your partner. I don't care who you are the stabilizer for. You have to end that role, that pattern, not just with your partner. You have to end the whole thing. Let people manage themselves. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not even saying I enjoyed it, but I am telling you, you can Do it. But that's what they mean. You can't stop being the stabilizer to one person, but keep these other ones. Again, watch for those small exceptions. You're still in it. You have to kill that role. You gotta leave that role. You deserve more than just being the stabilizer for others. Who stabilizes you? Someone needs to think about that. If unconscious, the pattern will repeat. Awareness must become action. Nothing changes if nothing changes. And I'm not just talking about your mindsets. You must take action. Not everything is meant to work. You are not here to override reality. There is no final certainty, only decisions made without it. Shift from external to internal orientation. Your grounding can no longer depend on them. You must develop the ability to ground yourself and stay in that grounding. What happens after you stop? When you disengage, emotions intensify. Identity destabilizes. The system tries to return, sometimes in subtle ways, and honestly, sometimes not in subtle ways. All right? Some of you are going to watch people full-blown fucking crash out, and you need to let them. I'm hearing you have carried them long enough. All right? So again, it tries to return, sometimes in subtle ways, and you feel pulled back through hope, empathy, meaning, and just this once. Your task is to not go back. Don't go back. I'm hearing there is nothing meaningful left there. There is no truth for you, no authenticity, and no genuine stability. Just a whole bunch of fucking illusions that you can no longer fully unsee anymore. What becomes available? The energy becomes self-direction, creativity, grounded connection, and internal stability. But only after you stop feeding the system. You don't get this until you stop and consistently stop. The final integrated message. This is where you free yourself from codependency. Not by understanding more, feeling ready, or doing it perfectly, but by non-participation in real time, interrupting behavior, attention, identity, and meaning loops, and acting without internal permission. And most importantly, tolerating everything that disruption creates without returning to the pattern to escape it. because this is not about becoming a better version of yourself inside the system. This is about becoming someone the system can no longer operate through. And that happens the moment you stop feeding it at every level it exists. Full extraction, babies. Start with one interruption and keep building. You can do this. You absolutely can. All right, that feels complete to me, and I am not getting anything else coming through. So thank you for being here, babies. I know this, for a lot of us, is a heavy topic. So if you made it through to the end, all the kudos to you. All the links to previous videos in the series will be found in the description box below. And I will be back with a new topic next week. Take care of yourselves, beautiful beings. Until next time, bye.